Justin's a loser, always has been.
It is with great honor and greater humility that I have accepted the Governor General's request to form a new government.
So Mark Carney picking his cabinet based on their genitals. When you do that, Canadians get screwed. We're off to a brutal start already. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of the political truth bombs I drop here every video, or at least try. It really helps the channel grow and pushes this message out to more Canadians who are sick of the spin. Now back to Carney and his not-so-new cabinet. What we've got here is a recycled crew of failures. The same tired faces, the same failed policies, and guess what? They're going to fail us again. But that's what you get when you vote Liberal. You get rewarded with incompetence.
Canadians also sent a clear message that their cost of living must come down and that our communities must be safe. The swearing in of this cabinet is amongst the fastest following an election, and the beginning of the new parliament will be one of the most rapid following an election in Canadian history.
So let's talk about what's hitting us all the hardest, the cost of living. Remember that big GST holiday that they hyped up? Yeah, it saved nobody any real money. The so-called carbon tax, well, it's a pause, knocked maybe a few cents off gas. Meanwhile, the food prices skyrocketing. Every single week, I can see prices going up at my grocery store. And the Liberals, no plan, no clue, no help. They toss out buzzwords, temporary gimmicks, but nothing real that brings relief to everyday Canadians. Crime, that's a whole separate disaster, and that really deserves its own video.
A new team, purpose-built for this hinge moment in Canada's history. This cabinet is smaller and more focused than those of previous governments. It will operate with a commitment to true cabinet government, with everyone expected and empowered to show leadership.
So what does Carney roll out? A new team. Let's see what Pierre Poilievre has to say about it.
And so far, it's not a promising start. The first disappointment is, unfortunately, his cabinet. He appointed Trudeau's old team and Trudeau's old advisors. Stephen Guilbeault, whose radical green agenda would shut down all future developments in our resource industry, is still the minister responsible for Quebec. Sean Fraser was the immigration minister who caused the immigration crisis, the housing minister who gave us the housing crisis, and now he's the minister responsible for addressing the Liberal crime crisis. It seems like he is the master at failing upward. Chrystia Freeland, who as finance minister hiked capital gains tax and carbon taxes and massively grew our debt to the point where we now spend $1 billion a week on interest, stays in the cabinet. Then there's Gary Anadesangari, the new Minister of Public Safety, who said the actual crimes, the actual issues around bail are quite sound, and they are embedded in, codified in law right now, as in to say that there's nothing wrong with the system. Well, in fact, there's everything wrong, as we see from the growing crime wave on our streets. Then there's François-Philippe Champagne, Trudeau's Minister of Everything, who never really managed to do anything. And he did it very loudly. But nice guy. I'll give him credit. He's a nice guy. But he was the Minister of Industry, during which we had the worst economic growth of any country in the G7. And now he's in charge of the budget. Then there's Joly, LeBlanc, Haidu, Anand. Anand was the president of the Treasury Board, during which time the bureaucracy and the consultant bills blew out of control. In all, 14 Trudeau ministers are now in Carney's cabinet. It's more of the same when Canada needs real change.
It's not a new team at all. It's the same Liberal insiders. The same people who created the mess, we now have them trying to fix it. And somehow people think there's actually going to be some sort of change. There's not. We are doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And no, that is not the definition of insanity, but both of them do apply here.
My last government's first act was to cancel the consumer carbon tax. In this new parliament, our new government will put more money in Canadians' pockets with a middle-class tax cut that will take effect by Canada Day, saving two-income families up to $825 a year.
So let's talk about that carbon tax. Once again, the Liberals are selling a lie. They announce a pause, and that's what it is, a pause on the carbon tax. And make it sound like a game changer. Really, for most Canadians, it did nothing. Saved a few cents on gas. And if you notice, that price keeps climbing. It's a PR stunt. The industrial carbon tax is still there. The price is going to trickle down and hit us. We're just not seeing it. Now they're trying to say, well, you're saving $825 a year per couple. Up to. Great headline. But think about it. It's a reduction in taxes across the whole year. When you do the math, might work out to a bag of groceries a month. A small bag. And that's only if prices stay the same, which we all know they won't. The cost of everything is going up. So even with their so-called savings, we're still worse off. Smoke and mirrors, more political theater, from a government completely disconnected from the reality of everyday Canadians.
We will also cut the GST on homes under $1 million for first-time home buyers and lower the GST on homes between $1 million and $1.5 million, helping to promote the goal of affordable home ownership. But that goal can only truly be achieved by doubling the rate of home building in this country. So we will build homes faster at lower costs with a smaller environmental footprint in construction and greater efficiency once families move in. And in that process, we will create an entirely new Canadian housing industry in modular and prefab housing using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, and Canadian lumber.
And finally, the housing market. It'll still be broken, still totally out of reach for most Canadians, still hovering around $1 million a home. The GST cut on homes, sure, that's nice in theory, but who's able to afford a new build right now? Carney is trying to pitch the prefabbed homes as some type of miracle fix, but they're not. It's just a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid on a bullet wound. The real issue, mass immigration without infrastructure to match. We bring people in faster than we can build the homes. And until that changes, nothing else matters. Not GST cuts, not prefab homes, not the liberal talking points.
In this past election, more than 1,900 people put their names on a ballot. And more than 19 million Canadians marked those ballots with their choice. And every vote counted. So whether you voted for this government or not, we are in your service. In the service of building a stronger, more united Canada. We will build and we will govern for all Canadians. Build big, build bold, build now.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, equality over excellence. On the surface, equality sounds great. But here's the problem when you say half the cabinet must be women, or we need X% representation. What you're really saying is we're not choosing the best. We're not choosing the best people for the job. You prioritize identity over ability. Canadians lose every single time. That's why we keep getting screwed. It is because this government cares more about diversity than actual performance. So what do we get from Mark Carney's Liberal cabinet? The same people, the same failed ideas, and the same pain for the average Canadian. If you are tired of being abused by the Liberal government, if you want real change and actual accountability, hit like, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.